My name is Wes Staten. I was in Peace Corps Peru. I was part of Peru 9 in between 2007 and 2009. My wife Cassandra and I were stationed in Selendín, Cajamarca, which is up on the north, about as the crow flies, about 120 miles south of the southernmost tip of Ecuador. You know, the best story I would say is that just from is how normal everything becomes. And I always tell about how my wife and I, with our first host dad, Marino Bautista, this wonderful, wonderful human being. Picture George Lopez. I'm not trying to sound stereotypical, but literally he looks just like George Lopez. And he was taking us up to this town called Chicla, which is where his wife was originally from. Beautiful small town in the middle of the central Andes, directly east of Lima. Just head east, go straight up the hill. We get to this town, and we had to catch from this bigger town a smaller combi to a smaller car to Chicla. The whole point we went to Chicla, and I didn't know this at the time, was to kick out a tenant of his wife's at her home, because they have squatter laws. If you're there for 7 years, the house becomes yours. So we go up there and he boots them. Hey, you guys got to go. They're losing their house. They're obviously crushed. And then he says something like, yeah, we got to get this place cleaned up for a nice romantic friend for my weekend, for my gringo buddies here. And we're like, whoa, dude, don't do that. Dude, don't do that. That wasn't the beginning of the story, though. So now we're kind of like, wow, this is really weird. This is what the Peace Corps is going to be like, because currently we're living in Lima, training center, everything's spoon-fed to you. We're going, okay, this is going to be 2 years. This is the real deal. This is what we're looking at here. And as we come down the hill, we can't find another car. So we jump in the back of about a 1986 Toyota hatchback. The three of us, 3 grown adults in the hatchback, through the Andes Mountains. And I'll never forget, it was a full moon. That's why I was looking up going, wow, only on a full moon. This just seems like the craziest day of my life. We get to the bigger town to catch a bus back to Lima. They said, the last bus just left. Dead sprint. I'm sprinting down the street after this thing. I catch it. They wait for my wife and our host father. We get on the bus. There's no seats available anywhere. There's no standing room available anywhere. They put us up front with the driver and the co-pilot. Something happens to the transmission on the bus. And I'm not a car guy, so I know nothing about what's going on here. And now this is in Spanish, and I've been there for 3 weeks, and my Spanish is very limited at this point. So my host dad literally pulls me off the engine block. That's where I'm sitting. As we're driving down the hill, they pull the engine block open. And the co-pilot sticks his head down there and goes, oh, what I literally learned was the transmission blew. So pilot says something like, no problem, we're going downhill anyway. Puts the bus in neutral, and here we go. And every time we go around a corner, he gives me one of these. I'm going, oh. My wife and I got home from that experience and looked at each other and went, what have we gotten ourselves into? 2 years of this. I emailed the whole world. I told my parents, my friends back home, my big email list. You know, everyone wants to hear about your experiences, and I'm sure the technology was so much different. And I send out this huge email. About 3 months later, another email. About 3 months later, another email. And about after the first year, that story was, you realize it's commonplace. This isn't a story to be told. This is every day of these people's lives. And you live it, you realize, you look around and you go, all right, as long as the Peruvians aren't freaking out, I'm fine. As soon as the Peruvians start going, whoa, then you're going, okay, there's a problem? There's a problem? All right, great, let's address the problem. But until that happens, then you just you have no idea what their reality is. And so it's fascinating. Yeah, everything about the Peace Corps was the greatest experience you could imagine. I think what's so precious about it too now, looking back on it, 2009, 2012, we've got our second child on the way. We run a business. My wife, has the 40-hour-a-week job, and all of those experiences now just seem like the weirdest memory that you've ever had. Like, really, that happened? That was my life? But the friendships that you take from that, and who you continue to talk with as you grow in your professional lives, and you grow into 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and what have you, you have this experience that was never ever going to be changed or altered or anything by anyone. And if you talk to my wife, she lived in the same apartment as me in the same town, and her experience was totally different than mine. And every single volunteer's experience is different. So the community, I think, that we bring back to the United States to talk to people, to educate them about other cultures, to let them know basically what they're missing out on, that, there's just no greater thing you can do for someone. I think I heard a quote a long time ago, don't know who it was, Life is like a book. Those who don't travel never get past the first chapter. And I think there's nothing greater to be said for you to understand not only yourself and your own culture, to have pride in your own culture and your own country. The best way to accomplish that is to leave it. Go dedicate your heart and soul to somebody else's life for 2 years and just show up and see what they want you to do and listen to them and laugh with them, drink beers with them or whatever alcoholic beverage it is that they drink in that neck of the world and live their life, and you will be ultimately a richer person for it. I'll speak for my best friend, my best buddy I made in Peace Corps is a gentleman named Frank Jadwin from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was Peru 9, 07 through 09 as well. And he looked at our boss and said, I want the most rural spot you can give me. I want to be Peace Corps, Peace Corps. So he was sent to a town of 500 people in the steepest part of the Andes Mountains. And when he got there, they had to dig a hole for him. His latrine, if you will, was a hole in the front yard. Frank proceeded to get every illness in the book. If you're not familiar with it, there's a game, a computer game that a lot of people, I'm 30 years old, a lot of kids my age played called Oregon Trail when computers first came out, where you had to take the Oregon Trail east, across the country, across the United States, west. And you have to put people on your team, and you would say, so Wes, Wes died of dysentery. We would joke that Frank was literally playing Oregon Trail because he had dysentery, yellow fever. I literally don't remember everything he got, but it was just unbelievable what happened to that kid. So he would, oh man, she should almost call him on the phone and get some of his stories. But
my name is Cass Staten. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Peru from 07 to 09 in the town of Selendín, Cajamarca.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I would always get fleas whenever I would work out in the caseríos, in the country schools. So that was interesting. The first time that happened to me, I called our doctor in a panic, and I said, well, at first I went to my host sister and I said, look at these bites, and she said, oh, it looks like you got some fleas. And I thought, well, aren't we going to do anything about it? So I called our Peace Corps doctor, and she said, wash everything and haul your mattress outside and get some insecticide and spray your room down if you can. And I was very upset because I had fleas. I felt like a dog. But by the end of my service, I had fleas. I'd had fleas multiple times, and whenever I would get fleas, I would just go, oh, I have fleas again. I'd put on a clean set of clothes and spray our room down and go for a walk for a few hours and come back, and it was fine. And the host sister at the beginning had told me, don't worry, once the fleas get to know you, they won't bite you so much. And at the time I thought she was crazy, but by the end of my service, when fleas bit me, I didn't get the allergic reaction. I just would get these tiny little bumps, and they didn't itch the same way they did before. So she was right. They just needed to get to know me, and they wouldn't bite me so much. Well, and I guess one thing that I consider a major accomplishment is we had a weekly radio show with a group of teenage girls. And they would do talk radio and music as well. And it was actually very popular. But one of the girls actually graduated high school the year that we left Peru and moved to the capital and is going to school to be a journalist. And recently wrote me a lovely Facebook message saying, thank you for getting me interested in all of this, and I can't wait to become a journalist, and she wants to be on TV. And she has the personality for it. So it was really touching to hear that, and afterwards that, oh, somebody actually took something that we did that I didn't think was that life-changing, and she's hopefully going to make a career out of it.